Hey, welcome back to Limited Skills. I'm James.
I am Brandon.
And today we are going to look at all of the cards for Amonkhet. So I hope you're comfortable with a beverage because we're going to be here a while.
Oh, I don't have a beverage.
Oh,
I'm going to die.
Can I get
also,
you a beverage?
I got to take some clothes off.
Woohoo! It is kind of hot in here. The first creature is Amonkhet Crasher. And he is a hasty 3/2. Let's see. I got to read these cards.
Do you want to say on crop? We're going to probably be saying this a lot, so I want to get it right. I'm going to go with on.
All right, we're going to say Amonkhet. Amonkhet Crasher is a 3/2 hasty creature, and you can exert him, which is a new keyword. An exerted creature won't untap during your next untap step.
So you basically force it to sleep in ice for a turn.
Yeah.
And get an added effect. Seems really good. 3 for a 3/2 haste. Perfectly fine. I'll play that in limited. Oh, also, all my opinions are coming from a limited perspective. I'll try and guess on whether I think something's standard playable, but
I'll let you know if it's good in Commander.
I would be so happy with this in limited.
Yeah, I mean, a 3 for a 3/2 is great, and then you can exert it, and now they can't block it, so you can just push through some damage out of nowhere. Moving on to our next creature as soon as I figure out how computers work.
I'm excited about Minotaurs being around.
Oh, yeah, we haven't seen Minotaur since Theros. That's more cards
been
for
that
the
long?
Didgeridoo deck.
Ancient Crab! Best card in the set.
Yep.
Absolutely. This will kill anybody because they're not going to spin removal on it, so they'll take 20 damage. Proceeding.
Angel of Sanctions. So here's a rare angel for 5, 3/4. We have to read all these cards because I haven't. This is the first time I've looked at the set.
Same. Well, this is an adventure for all of us.
We even had somebody else set up all the images for us, so this is totally new. Embalm, that's a new keyword. Exile this card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a zombie, a white zombie.
And it has all those abilities and everything, so it's an exact... They actually even have tokens for all of these embalmed creatures, which is cool.
Yeah, with no mana cost. And I couldn't figure out why that was relevant. Why did they have to say no?
Usually, okay, even though it's a token, if you make a copy of something, it still copies the converted mana cost. So they specified that this is sort of an exception from that expectation.
Okay.
Probably to simplify it, because most people assume all tokens have 0 converted mana cost.
Yeah, I know, I would have.
So when it enters the battlefield, you can exile a non-land permanent an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield.
Wow.
So you Oblivion Ring something, but then you get to do it again because
it's like
they
Banisher
embalm.
Priest even.
Right.
Only it's a friggin' angel. That card's sweet. Great. It's going to be great in limited. It's going to be even better in sealed because you get a bombing angel and you get to remove their stuff.
Yeah, I think as a mythic should be. Oh, that's cute. They show us the little token right after.
Angler Drake. When it enters the battlefield, you can return target creature to its owner's hand.
Nothing exciting, but I would be happy with that in any limited format.
Yep. Anointed Procession. If an effect would create one or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many tokens instead.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a parallel lives, double your tokens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tokens in this. Well,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm thinking in Kaladesh, but there's a lot in this too because of just Embalm alone.
Yeah, the
we haven't
keyword
even
we
seen
just
many
saw.
cards, but we know there's going to be a lot of. Thematically, you're taking your mummified creatures and splitting them in two. That's weird to me.
I will say this card is going to be good in any of those decks where you're already making tokens. It's going to do nothing in decks that don't care about Embalm. And it's going to be sweet in Commander, so you should get them. Especially, oh god, white makes so many tokens in Commander. That's like the only good white deck there is. Anyway, Anointer Priest.
Whenever a creature token enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life, and it also has Embalm.
That's cool.
So it can trigger itself to gain a life at least.
Yeah, that's...
But it's 2 for a 1/3 that then gives you another creature later. So I have a feeling I'm going to be happy with anything with Embalm and Limited.
Probably. And I like this. It's a nice defensive creature that gets you a little upside as it hangs back and defends the battlefield. Approach the Second Sun. Man, the art on this card is sweet. Oh god, there's so much text here.
Oh, the words we have to read. This is terrible.
I don't think we have to read it.
If
out
Approach
loud.
of the Second Sun was cast from your hand, and you've cast another spell named Approach of the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library, 7th from the top, and you gain 7 life. Okay, that's neat. Because you don't actually have to wait for that second copy. You could just have a deck with multiple of it.
Yeah.
And that's cute.
Because eventually you're going to get to them all.
So this seems actually a lot more viable as a win condition than most of the other alternate win conditions. I think I would absolutely play this in limited forever.
Yeah, sure. Would you though? What if you only have one copy? Because otherwise, all it does is 7 mana
Gains you
for
7
7
life, and then no, but then it puts itself 7 down, and then you win in 7 turns.
If it was, let's see. Was cast from your hand, and you've cast and you've cast it this game. Yeah, so then they have to kill you in 7 turns.
Yeah, because it goes back. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this card is sweet. You don't need multiples of it. You just have to not lose for 7 turns.
I feel like that might close some games of draft people aren't expecting.
Yeah, take that in sealed, play it, let us know what happens, because I'm pretty sure you're going to piss off a lot of people.
Archfiend of Ifnir. 5 for a 5/4 in black, flying. When you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control.
And it has cycling itself.
Yeah.
This is one of the few cards I think in this set that has colorless cycling.
Yeah, a lot of them it is colored. This guy seems really good. 5 for a 5/4 flyer, especially in black. I'm real excited to play. And then you're gonna get to murder things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a counter. I was thinking till end of turn, but I clearly said
It's
counter.
a -1/-1
and that's
counter.
very, very good.
We haven't seen -1/-1 counters since what was the infect block?
Was that Phyrexia? Was
Yeah,
that the last time we
new
saw minus
Phyrexia.
counters? Yeah.
Mhm.
They don't do them as often, but yeah, it's been a little bit.
Because they have weird interactions with +1/+1 counters. They confuse people, so they don't like to use them. I guess maybe that's worth mentioning here is that if you have a creature with a +1/+1 counter and a -1/-1 counter,
They just negate each other, and then there's no counter there.
yep. As foretold.
Oh, I have heard people talking about this one. I'm vaguely familiar with it, but it's a 3-mana blue enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on As Foretold, and once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast, with converted mana cost X or less, which is equal to the counters on As Foretold. So basically, each turn it gets a counter, and then you can cast something for free.
Oh, this spell's really cool. I mean, it's a big bomb. It's going to be great and limited. Pick it early, play it often.
Yeah, it's like a cheap...
Like Omniscience, kind of?
Yeah, not exactly the same effect, but for 3 mana, it's really powerful.
Yeah, this card's going to be sweet in Commander, too. Put it in your blue decks. Oh, here's a 3/2 for 4 with Flying and Embalm.
Aven Initiate, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll play 4 for a 3/2 flyer, unlimited.
And it's got a weird kind of flashback. Yeah, it's fine. Oh
no, we're going to read these cards. Aven Mind Sensor is a... what are they calling them?
Oh, it's an invocation?
Invocation, sure. That sounds Egyptian.
It's a 3 for a 2/1.
Any of these, they're obviously not going to be in standard. Your chance of getting them isn't necessarily even worth talking about in limited because they're so rare, and they're all going to be very good. So it's insanely good. I'm not saying we don't have to talk about it, but obviously getting any of these, you're going to play it if you can.
Is this going to be good in limited?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a 2/1 flying with flash for 3 mana. The other ability might not matter, but you're absolutely going to play it still.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like, the worst part of it is still better than most cards you're going to be playing.
Oh, well, here's the actual Aven Mind Sensor. He's actually in the set.
I forgot about that.
So this is relevant. We should talk about this card.
This is more common. We haven't seen enough card search effects yet. They could be there, but we don't know. Yeah, we're learning right now with you guys.
However, we'll get to go to the pre-release and we'll get to be prepared. Remember the last event we went to? Modern Masters. We tore open those open those packs and we had no idea what was about to happen.
I've gotten to a lot of pre-releases not knowing what I'm opening.
We're gonna make you a better drafter, Brandon. Anyway,
I'll fight that.
Aven Wind Guide. Flying Vigilance.
Blue-white.
Creatures you control have Flying and Vigilance. And Embalm.
Creature tokens. Maybe you said that.
No, I didn't. I just said creatures.
Just tokens.
Creature tokens have Flying and Vigilance. So this goes in the token archetype.
Which is going to be most things, I think, with all the embalming we're doing.
Definitely white. Probably also heavy in blue. Which is interesting. That's normally a black ability.
The graveyard recursion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think black actually doesn't have Embalm, is my understanding.
Oh.
We'll see about that. Maybe there's just less of it.
Let's look at the next card and see if it's black. It's not. Yeah, it is. Baleful Ammit. Crocodile Demon.
God, I want to embalm a crocodile demon, though. 3 for a 4/3 lifelink. I'm excited so far. When Baleful Ammit enters the battlefield, put a -1 counter on target creature you control. That's fine.
I bet there's a way in this set to get advantage from -1/-1 counters on your dudes.
I think there's a lot of costs you can pay that are removing minus counters from your guys.
Oh,
and there are a
sweet.
lot of, I think, black and green creatures that give you counters on your things to sort of prep for that.
Okay, so this will be an enabler, and also 3 for a 4/3 with life. Oh man, that's
Even if
good.
it's your first creature and you have to put the counter on itself, it's still 3 for a 3/2 lifelink, and that's fine.
That's awesome. I want this card. Battlefield Scavenger. You may exert Battlefield Scavenger as it attacks. Whenever you exert a creature, you may discard a card. Okay, so he loots.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't realize he triggers on all of your exerted creatures, not just himself. That's neat.
Yeah, I like that. Exert seems like it's going to be the red mechanic, so I like that they're giving red a way to draw cards.
Yeah.
Benefaction of Ronus. I almost said Rohan. That would have been wrong. It's 3 for a green sorcery. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. Again, green gets to draw cards. That's still weird to me. You may
We're just revealing. We don't know yet. We haven't finished reading this card.
Oh,
Who
you're
knows
right.
what's going to happen?
Let's reveal what happens with the rest of this
Yeah.
card. You may put a creature card and or enchantment card from among them into your hand.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Put the rest into your graveyard. Is this rare?
It's a common.
Oh,
Seems good.
yeah. A common? This card's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with, the embalm stuff, you could set up putting embalm creatures in your graveyard as well.
Oh, this card's sweet. I love this card. It's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be hard to use this card in sealed because it's gonna. I mean, whether or not this card is good in your deck depends on the cards that you randomly open. But you should probably pick this card in limited if you're in embalmy colors. Binding Mummy.
When it enters the battlefield under your control, you may tap target artifact or creature. That is sweet. 2 for a 2/2. That is more than you usually expect from a grizzly bear-sized creature.
You can tap target. Yeah.
Oh, and it's... Oh, sorry. We misread. Whenever another zombie enters it. So he doesn't tap down himself, but there are a lot of zombies. There's enough zombies. He still
All the
seems
embalmed
really
creatures
sweet.
are zombies.
Yeah. I got real excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still very good.
Oh yeah, and he's binding Mummy. Don't ask what he's doing to your mom. Bitterblade Warrior, 2 for a 2/2. It's already playable. You may exert Bitterblade Warrior as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+0 and gains Death Touch until end of turn.
Great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Also, I want to build a Jackal deck. I hope that's a tribe we can do. Oh, look, it looks awesome.
It does look awesome. He looks. Oh yeah, man, he's threshing that wheat.
Yeah, that's what we do with our greatest warriors. We send them out to chop up some weeds.
What we've seen of Exert so far, I really like, in that the card is fine on its own, and then when you exert it, it does something more. I really like
Something exhausting.
Yeah, I liked that the card it's not a bad card unless it exerts. I think that because that's easily a direction they could have gone. They could have made the vanilla creature really weak and then make the exert effectively powerful.
These are absolutely playable.
Yeah.
Without.
Blazing Volley deals 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls.
That's pretty good for 1 mana.
Yeah. I don't know how many 1/1s are in the set. Maybe enough to make this relevant.
Yeah, we'll see.
Blighted Bat. Oh, here's
Kill
a
that.
1/1.
Dead.
Pay 1. So it's 3 for a 2/2 or 4 for a 2/1 with haste. Okay. Bloodlust Inciter. Tap target creature gains haste until end. So, sorry, let me reread that. Tap. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. This is another card those arrows kill.
Yeah, this thing seems pretty good. I like it.
Mm-hmm. This seems like a 1/1 that I would be happy to play late game.
Yeah, I don't... it's pretty rare and limited that I play one-drop creatures. There has to be something really fancy or special about them. I think this is good enough that I would play this consistently.
Yeah, he's kind of like Dave, Gideon's buddy. Blood Rage Brawler, 2 for a 4/3. Oh, there's got to be a drawback. When he enters the battlefield, discard a card. Is that even a drawback?
Barely.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you're discarding land, you don't care. That's a really good size for that cost. And there's also a handful of things we've seen. All the things that like trigger on cycling also just say or when you discard a card.
Yeah.
So I find it strange they differentiated that, because when you cycle, you're discarding the card also. That they didn't just say discard.
They may have wanted to specify, because I know I would have assumed that I'm cycling the card and not just discarding it. Even though that's what you're doing. I would have sort of differentiated those things in my mind, and I think they wanted to make clear for people who are just getting into Magic for the first time or who aren't super elite drafters like you that this is a thing. Anyway, this card's great.
Yeah, seems good.
Yeah, the drawback's not a drawback. Play this card all the time. Bone Picker, 4 for a 3/2. Bone Picker costs 3 less to cast if a creature died this turn. Also, it has Flying and Death Touch.
Whoa. What? All right, Jackal's out. I'm building Bird Tribal, but in black.
There's a this card's gonna make Colin really happy.
Oh, he's gonna change his blue-white birds to Esper birds just for this.
Oh, we have he's got a bird commander deck. Bird theme general, only bird spells.
He won't even play good spells that don't have birds in them.
That's right.
Bantu's Monument.
Is that a crocodile temple?
That's a jackal, right? Or is it?
No, it looks like it's got teeth. It's
yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, I guess jackals have teeth too, but those look like crocodile teeth.
Okay, we'll go with the crocodile.
Should we talk about the card?
Nah.
All right.
Black creatures cast 1 less to cast. Yeah, it's crocodile because that's the black creature theme. When you cast a creature spell, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life.
That's neat.
Cool. That seems all right.
This is kind of like oh no, we've seen these cards before in previous sets, like the Black Mage's Scepter. Or I made that up, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, 2 interesting things to note here. So I have glanced these before. So they make the specific colored creature cheaper, but the second ability triggers on any creature. It doesn't have to be a black creature to get this effect. So I think this seems worth it. Also very interesting that we've got an uncommon legendary artifact. It's not frequent that we see not rare legends.
So you can't cast multiples of these.
Yes.
Now normally they put these into sets to sort of teach new players about life gain and how life gain works. But I think because it pings them, drains them, that's the word, right? It drains them. Because it drains when they cast any creature, this is maybe a little bit better than those janky scepters from previous sets.
Yeah, and it's kind of mana ramp also.
Yeah. And here's Bantu the Glorified.
Whoa. So this is the first of the gods that we're looking at here. 3 for a 4/6, Menace, Indestructible. It's all good so far. But it can't attack or block unless a creature died under your control this turn.
However, he's built in. So he turns himself on. You can pay colorless black, sack another creature, scry 1. Each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Right away, this card is good in Commander, and I want it for my Sabra deck.
Looking forward to these gods, based on our previous 10 god experience from Theros block. Maybe a little underwhelming, but still seems very good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would just cram this into every deck, but I would be real excited about this in Limited.
Sorry, I had to let my wife in. She doesn't play Magic. She's not that cool.
She also apparently doesn't have a key to the house, so...
All right, yeah, this card's great. Played in Limited. Man, I want this card so bad for Commander. I'm done. I don't need to look at any more cards in this set.
Okay, and then that was our review. Oh, I guess there's more. Here's the unreadable version of that card.
Yeah. Bounty of the Luxa.
4 mana enchantment and blue-green. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, remove all flood counters from Bounty of the Luxa. If no counters are removed this way, put a flood counter on Bounty of the Luxa and draw a card. Otherwise, add colorless green-blue to your mana pool.
Man,
okay, that's a lot of stuff. This is one of the cards they put in a pack that holds up a draft table. Because every player, the first time they're seeing it, and if they pass it, then the next player is going to be sitting and reading it 4 times.
All right, so what happens? At the beginning of your your first main phase, you remove all flood counters from the thing. If no counters were removed this way, you put a counter on it and draw a card. So every other turn, you're either going to get a colorless and blue-green, or you're going to draw a card.
Yeah, it's just going to alternate. I think it's strange the way it orders it, because it tells you the effect you don't get first. I think that's what annoys me about the layout of this card that makes it confusing. It should, I don't know, they should flip-flop it, because the first turn, or your first pre-combat main phase, you're going to be getting the mana. And that's the last thing it tells you.
Which, actually, that's interesting about this card. Oh, no, because it's at the beginning. So you're not going to get the effect the turn you play it.
Right.
Are you going to get you're not even going to get a flood counter.
No. So it'll be the next turn you get the mana ramp.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, honestly. Even just the first time you play it, so turn 4 you play this. Turn 5, you're gonna, if you don't miss any land drops, you're gonna have 8 mana.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then it's going to draw you a card every other turn after that.
Yeah, this card seems fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little wordy. I feel like a lot of people will overlook it and not pick it in draft just because it seems gimmicky, but it seems good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it does. Anyway. Brute Strength.
Classic. I'm usually pretty happy with this as a combat trick.
I like combat strike. I like combat tricks a lot in sealed because it's hard to have reliable removal because it's the luck of the draw, right? So combat tricks can kind of work like removal in that you can charge in with a creature they're not expecting to be huge and then make it huge. It's not as good as murder, but it gets the job done. By force. Gets the job done by force. So this is an X and a red. Destroy X target artifacts.
That's really good.
Yeah. I don't know how many artifacts are going to be in this set, but this obviously seems like a card they included for standard.
There's at least the 5 legendary ones.
That's true. Sideboard card. That's all I got. Cancel. I don't love counterspell
I think
limited.
in standard there are even strictly better versions of this floating around right now. So
Probably. The art's really pretty, though.
that's true.
It looks like she's fighting off some red mage. Anyway. Counterspell. You know what it does.
Oh, these new lands I'm excited about. These seem very good, and I think a lot of people are excited about these.
Yeah, cycle land.
Yeah, so 2 colors, cycling, and they have the 2 basic land types on them, which makes a huge difference.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
It is a swamp
so you
mountain.
can get that with your fetches or anything that's counting for domain. It affects those. So, yeah, I think these are going to be very popular. I think these, in limited, yeah, absolutely take it because you can cycle it even if you don't care about that. I think you're going to see decks filled with these in standard, and then I think EDH players are going to go crazy for these too.
Yeah, sure. I can even see them creeping into modern a little bit because you can pull it with your fetch and then spend 2 to draw a card. So it's like you're paying 1 life and 2 to draw a card in the late game.
Well, your fetch is going to put it into play.
Oh,
so
you're
you
right.
won't be able to cycle from play.
Yeah, I don't play modern, guys. I have a modern deck. I don't play it. Cartouche of Ambition.
3 mana. Enchant a creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, you can put a -1 counter on target creature. And enchant a creature gets +1 and lifelink.
This is interesting.
That seems good. I like that. It's got a comes into play effect that's good. Can kill an opponent's thing, as well as I don't know. I like +1/+1 and lifelink. I'm not crazy about auras and limited, but
this is a comes into play
that's
effect.
2 effects that I am fond of going ahead and piling on a creature.
Yeah.
And then you might just kill something.
And the fact that it has a comes into play effect means that even if you do get 2 for 1, and that sucks, you still got some value out of the enchantment. Even if you never got to attack with the creature, you still maybe killed a thing, or you made their threat now killable.
I'm surprised the -1 counter is a May, because they do have other things that put minus counters on your creatures that it doesn't force you into punishing yourself if your opponent doesn't have any creatures. So
yeah, I
that's
like that.
Good.
Cartouche of Knowledge. Enchant creature you control. When Cartouche of Knowledge enters the battlefield, draw a card. Okay, so it replaces itself, and it gives a creature +1/+1 in flying. This one is cheaper than the black. This one only costs 2, but I think this one's better.
I'm really fond of lifelink. No, you're probably right. I don't know. It's all in a bubble, one way or the other, depending on the situation. But I think generically, this will win games for people more.
Cartouche of Solidarity. Enchant creature you control. When Cartouche of Solidarity enters the... Blah, 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 it gives you a 1 white. God, this is hard. I don't know why people do this. This is the worst.
Speak English, yeah.
Yeah, it makes a warrior token with vigilance. Oh, that's good too.
Oh, it has vigilance. That's cute.
Yeah.
Not just your generic 1/1 creature.
No, it has vigilance. And it gives the thing it's enchanted +1/+1 in first strike. I like this card a lot. Makes a body. And a first strike creature. Cartouche of Strength. Another enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you may have enchanted creature fight target creature and opponent controls. Okay, Brandon. How do the order of operations here work? So I enchant my creature. Will it fight before it gets +1/+1 in trample?
It will have the +1/+1 in trample when the fight goes on the stack. So you do have the second bonus for when you're checking the powers that you're dealing to the 2 creatures.
This card seems good too. There was an instant like this in, I want to say it was Theros, where it pumped your creature and then you fought something. And that card was very good.
Yep.
And I think this is less good because it's an enchantment, so it has to happen at standard, at sorcery speed, but this card's sweet.
It's cool that it gives the the added effect that these cartouches seem to give. It's important to note also, as we mentioned, they would have that added effect when you go to fight. If your opponent has instant speed removal, they could respond to the fight trigger by destroying the enchantment. And there's a chance for them to make it smaller than you were expecting when you get to the creatures actually fighting each other.
Oh, yeah,
neat. Just good to keep that in mind.
Watch out for that. They'll get you.
I don't know if we've seen instant speed enchantment removal yet, though. I'm sure there's some.
Here's the last Cartouche of Zeal. When Cartouche of Zeal enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. That's a very red effect. An enchanted creature gets +1/+1 in haste. I think for 1, this is fine. I think if it costs more, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's maybe my least favorite of the 5, but it's still fine.
Yep.
Still seems good.
Ooh, Cascading Cataracts. This card's pretty. Adds colorless. It's a land. Sorry, it's an indestructible land. That's interesting. And then you can pay 5 and tap it and add 5 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool.
That's interesting because I think this is strictly better than an old card. I don't remember what it's called. I think it was an Odyssey, but it was a filter land, but you specifically got 1 of each color for your 5 mana, and it also wasn't indestructible.
Yeah, because this is 5 of any color, so you could use it to pay that Divinity of Pride cost. You could make black, 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 white for funsies. Cast Out. When cast out... Oh, wait, hang on. It's 4 for a flash enchantment, so that's interesting. And when cast out enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until cast out leaves the battlefield, cycling.
Okay, this is really cool because this has cycling, and no one will ever use it. Why would they? What fools?
Yeah.
Don't cycle this card. What? Yeah, that's really good. I don't even understand why they felt the need to put flash on this also, but amazing.
Maybe if you're already winning more, they want you to draw a card.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the only reason you would ever want to cycle this is because you're winning, because their creatures don't matter. And the fact that it has flash, oh, yeah, this card's good. Don't cycle this card. Censor for 2, blue, instant, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1.
That's cool.
Also, it has cycling. I think that makes it worth putting in your deck.
Yeah, I actually... Okay, so I've mentioned before I don't really like counterspells in limited because you don't really know what your opponent has. Like, limited so much more random. You can't predict the best spell to counter like you can in a constructed format. So I rarely play counterspells in limited, but I think I would be really happy to play this frequently.
Yeah.
Just because if you get to that point where you're not going to counter something useful, you just cycle it and it doesn't matter.
No, I'll ask this question because I know I will make this mistake at the pre-release on Saturday. Cycling is sorcery speed, right?
No, that's not true. You can
Cycling is instant speed.
Yep.
So you can hold this card open to try and counter their trick or whatever stupid thing they're going to do. And if they don't do that stupid thing or they cast some grizzly bear you don't care about, then you can cycle it and draw a card. Yeah, this card's awesome. I love this card. Champion of Ronus. Here's a Jackal Warrior.
Yes.
It's 3 and a green for a 3/3.
That was
Already playable.
Never mind. I was going to correct you for reading the card properly.
No, I'm going to read these in a random order all day. Do you want to tell us what it does?
Yeah, you may exert Champion of Ronus as it attacks. When you do, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's cool. So you got a 3/3 pounding in and dropping free creatures.
And it doesn't care about how expensive it is. Normally, an effect like this is a creature that costs 3 or less.
Sometimes it checks the color too.
Yeah,
but
so
this is just anything.
If you get to 4 mana, and then on turn 5 you attack with this guy, you can put down your 7/11.
That's the biggest thing we've seen. And you could cast that 7/11 for 1 mana.
I don't know. I think the biggest thing we've seen so far is the gods.
Oh yeah, and that one was only 3 mana.
Yeah.
This might be the biggest thing we've seen so far, but we've got a long way to go.
We're going to hope there are bigger things than a 3/3. But you could do that. That seems great. I love this card. This is going to be a bomb in sealed. It's going to be very good in limited. It's probably going to make it into your commander deck. Although
Definitely there.
Yeah.
This is going to be very popular with EDH players.
Channeler Initiate. This is a human druid. It's a 1 green for a 3/4. This is another one of those cards. Oh, wow. Hang on. I will read this. When it enters the battlefield, put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creatures you control. However, it says tap. Remove a -1/-1 counter from Channeler Initiate. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This card is neat. I like this card.
2 for 1/2, garbage.
Okay.
Kidding. No, yeah, this seems really good. I would be really happy about this, actually, because you get a ramp up to other big stuff, and then by the time you've got an army of big stuff, he's also big stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah, this guy's awesome.
Also, if you've got some junk guy, some garbage 1-drop that you played that you don't care about, you can just play him on turn 2 as a 3/4 and just kill your little guy.
Yep. Yeah, because you can pile all the -1/-1 counters on one thing,
Yeah.
even if that thing would die.
And then you can't tap him for mana, but whatever, you got a 3/4 for 2. That's basically a Tarmogoyf.
Yep.
$200 card, calling it right now. Soak 'em
Channeler
up.
Initiate, the new Tarmogoyf. You heard it here on Limited Skills. Hey, look, this is bigger than that Jackal.
This is what we're going to build our deck around. Also, okay, if you're just listening to us, look at the screen right now. Look at this art. This giant Colossipede. You're going to feel so good killing people with this.
Oh, this reminds me of the 6/7 elk from Theros block.
That thing was really good.
Yeah. It also had no game effects. It was just a 6/7
It was just the
with
right
a paragraph
size.
of flavor text.
I love cards like this, honestly.
Put it in all of your seal decks. Probably put it in your draft deck.
So it seems silly in construction stuff to have, cards like this still made. But whenever I see cards like this, I really do like it because it brings me back to my childhood of being really excited about these vanilla...
Emperor Crocodile?
Yeah, just anything. You're like, this is a Magic card. It's cool. And it sort of takes me back to that.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to play Magic with 12-year-olds. That sounded bad. Let's move on. Combat Celebrant is 3 for a 4/1 and a bunch of game text. He's a human warrior. If Combat Celebrant hasn't been exerted this turn, you may exert it as it has attacked. That's a... weird. Anyway, when you do, untap all other creatures you control, and after this phase, there is an additional combat phase.
Okay, a Relentless Assault
Yeah.
warrior. So it's worded that way so that if you have 2 of them, you can't just infinite attack. You can only use each of them once a turn.
Yeah. Yeah, all other... Okay. Now, I like this creature. I'm going to have to process this. So call me tomorrow, guys, and I'll tell you what I think. But I do have a deck that this goes right into. It's Naya, human tribal, that's all around extra combat steps, and it wants a really low curve. This guy checks
That
all the
sounds
boxes.
ideal. Who's your commander for that?
It's Gahiji, the honored one, because he triggers on
he's
every
really good.
trigger.
He's,
Yeah, so they
frustrating, in fact.
every attack step he
yeah.
helps your guys. So if you can get a bunch of attack steps, you can turn your army of weenies
That's
into...
cool. Yeah, he seems pretty good. 1 toughness is really sad for a mythic, especially because sometimes you get excited about playing your mythic and then it just dies to something accidental.
Yeah.
The black cartouche will murder it. But yeah, if you get that effect, that's good.
Yeah. This card's cool. I don't know what else to say. I'm gonna move on. Commit. Oh God.
Oh, okay. So we've got our. Have you seen these? The split cards?
No.
No. I forget what they're called, but before they were, something and something, and now they are commit to memory. Is the name of the card essentially?
Yeah,
what people call
breaking
it.
and entering.
Right.
Yeah.
So commit 4-mana instant. Put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library second from the top. That's cool. That's pretty good removal as it is,
Sure.
and okay-ish counterspell in a pinch. Memory, as James and I tilt our heads sideways. So it's called Aftermath, that you cast the second one from your graveyard and exile it. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. That's cool. If you really hate that spell, you really hate that one they cast that you put on top of their deck, you can shuffle it back up. I don't know if that's worth all that mana altogether, but it's cool that you've got options from that.
Well, so shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library. I mean, you could target your own thing with an enter the battlefield trigger, and then cast memory. Yeah.
Well, you'd lose it in that case.
Oh,
It would
yeah,
get
you're
shuffled
right.
in. So I've heard some people express distaste in these not being as powerful as some of the split cards before, but I think they're fine because of a lot of the split cards you had to choose what you got, or you had to have a bunch of mana to fuse them together and get both effects. This is commit. The spell is commit, but then you're also getting to essentially have access to this other effect later in the game, and I think that's great.
Yeah, getting to draw 7 cards. I mean, your opponent gets to draw 7 cards too, but still, it refills your hand. It's interesting.
I guess it's less relevant to me that the second effect isn't as crazy bomby as people want, but it's just a free thing that you'll have sitting in your graveyard later.
Yeah, it's like if you put this card in your deck, you have a 41 card deck, and you're only using 40 cards. Think about it like that. It's a bonus free spell.
I'm going to think about what you said for sure.
Compelling argument.
2-mana sorcery. Target player puts the top 5 cards of their library into their graveyard with a cycling for blue. Not phenomenal, but you could try and deck somebody if
here's the
there's some
thing.
other effects.
Thank you, Brandon, for saying that. People are going to cast this on you, and that is wrong. You cast this on yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because you are trying to hit your embalm creatures, or the card we just saw. You're trying to get your aftermath effects.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, the aftermath.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Or you sideboard this against whatever coming of the second sun, and whenever they get 3 cards deep, you mill it into their graveyard. Owned. Sorry, I ruined everybody's fun. It's going to win alternatively.
That was a compelling argument.
I'm just drafting 17 of those. I'm decking everybody. I'm screwing that other win strategy.
I mean, sometimes that could come up in sealed. I played a sealed where we both stalled out, and I won that round because my opponent drew 1 more card that game.
Oh, yeah, it happens, definitely.
Yeah.
And this can speed that along for sure.
Yep. Okay.
I do think you're right that there's probably more self-graveyard synergy that is better for.
It's not going to always be wrong to target your opponent, but most of the time it's going to be wrong. Compulsory Rest. This is a white enchantment for 2. Enchant creature can't attack or block. Enchanted creature has pay 2. Sacrifice this creature. You gain 2 life.
That's weird.
Yeah.
This seems to me like a worse pacifism, but there are some options you have with it. If you, for some reason, really wanted to kill your own creature, you could spend 4 mana to rest it and then sacrifice it and gain a couple life.
This would trigger the Black God.
That's
I mean, the Black God triggers himself, so well, that's
yeah,
not good. Yeah.
I don't know. This is weird. It also, if you're playing it on a creature that has Embalm, you're giving them the opportunity to then embalm it, which is probably the design purpose of this, because pacifism would be an annoying way to not let people use these new mechanics. So this is probably a way that it's sort of removal, but doesn't completely eliminate that aspect of the game for them.
Yeah, you can also cast it on your own embalm creature as a way to throw it away, if for some reason you care about embalming it. Consuming Fervor. So there's another enchantment. We've seen a lot of creature enchantments so far.
Yeah,
haven't we?
it has felt that way.
We're also only on the seas so far.
Okay, that's fine. This will be 7 hours.
Consuming Fervor is 1 red. Enchanted creature gets +3/+3 and has, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a -1/-1 counter on this creature.
That seems alright.
So eventually it's going to kill itself.
Yeah.
But for 1 red, you could put this on your 1 drop and then beat in for a bunch of damage. It'll eventually go away.
In the event of somebody killing that creature, whereas you normally feel really bad about losing the aura and the creature together, you'll probably feel a little less bad about this one.
Yeah. This card's neat. I don't know that I'd pick it highly, but
if you're super aggressive, I think this would be a really good pick.
Yeah. If you're in the is it control deck, it's probably not that great. Cradle of the Accursed.
It's a desert.
It's a land. It taps to add colorless to your mana pool. You can pay 3 and sacrifice it to make a 2/2 black zombie. And the color is actually relevant this time because now we're making white zombies. You can activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Okay.
I like lands that turn into creatures.
Yep.
This seems awesome. And the zombie creature type seems pretty relevant in this set.
Yeah, this card's good. Crocodile of the Crossing. Oh god, I love this card. It looks like Emperor Crocodile.
We are going down memory lane.
It is. It's better than Emperor Crocodile.
It's a lot. It's a green creature with haste. I love that.
It's a 5/4 for 4. And when it enters the battlefield, you put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control.
So worst case scenario, it's a 4/3 with haste for 4 mana, which is unexpected for green.
Yep, that's usually a red thing.
Unless you're... God, I was going to name a mythic with haste from a long time ago. It was a big deal. Let's move on, because I don't remember card names, and why would I pretend to?
Cruel Reality for 7. This card probably won't get played a lot based on the fact that it costs 7. However, it is an enchantment. It's an aura and a curse. We haven't seen curses in a while, have we?
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. If the player can't, he or she loses 5 life. I have another EDH deck that wants this card.
I think this will be very good in EDH. I think this will also be pretty bomby and limited, even though not necessarily for every deck because it's a little slow. I think if you play this on somebody in limited, you will win.
Yeah, probably. Although, I mean, it's slow to come out, and it's slow to thin out their board. So if you're in a really... I mean, this card could help you stabilize, or it could do nothing.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like if you're that close to losing where you won't get enough of a desired effect from this, then you are probably hurting anyway.
Yeah. On the other hand, this card, if you are stalled out, this card will push you over the edge. So it's probably worth playing. Cryptic Serpent. I like it already. It is a 7 mana 6/5 in blue, double blue, and it costs 1 less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. This is a very blue effect. I don't know what else to say about it.
It blew me away.
Curator of Mysteries for 4. Here's a Sphinx. It scries. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, scry 1. Also, it cycles.
That's cool. 4 for a 4/4 flyer. That's awesome. And then it's got 2 other abilities on it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm all for this.
It's kind of
Pick this card in draft.
It's kind of not very exciting, but it's fine. It's totally good. This card's playable.
Your opponent will definitely be unexcited when you play a 4/4 flyer on turn 4.
Yep. And then you scry forever. Cursed Minotaur. Here's a zombie Minotaur with Menace.
3 for a 3/2 menace. That's an amazing limited common.
Yeah, this guy's
also,
great.
zombie and minotaur, both relevant creature types.
Yep. I like this guy.
Cut to ribbons. Cut. This seems good. 2 mana, deal 4 damage to target creature at sorcery speed.
That will kill almost everything we've seen so far today.
Yeah. Ribbons. Black, and X. This is the aftermath. Each opponent loses X life. So this is good. It helps you survive early game or cut through aggressively. Haha. And then Ribbons is a finisher. This card seems very good.
Yeah, I love this card.
This is everything I want in an aftermath card because that's what I want early game and that's what I want late game.
Yeah, I'll pick it, play it. Decimator Beetle also makes me happy.
It's got a sweet headdress.
This is it does. It's Golgari, so of course it's wearing something cool on its head. And it's just a freaky beetle. When Decimator Beetle enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. When it attacks, remove a -1/-1 counter from target creature you control, and put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature defending player controls.
That's cool. So it removes them from your creatures and puts them on the opponents.
Yeah.
I don't know what the theme is here, but this card seems good and I like the art.
Yeah. Yeah. Decision Paralysis. I think that's what happened to the last card. There were so many things going on. They had a decision paralysis, so they just did everything. This is a blue instant for 4. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step. We've seen this card before. It's always good.
I think this is a strictly worse version. I believe we had this effect at 3 mana in the past. I could be wrong. This is still fine. I would still play this, absolutely. That's probably just them learning their lesson, that effect for 3 mana is maybe too good.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even at 4 mana, even at 5 mana, would this be too expensive at 5 mana? I'd probably still play it.
It wouldn't be exciting, but I would probably still play it.
Yeah, all right, so you heard
limited.
it. This card's not exciting, but you should play it. We have Deemed It Worthy. Deem Worthy, a 5 mana red instant that deals 7 damage to target creature. Wow, this is... Okay, so it has more abilities, but it's 5 damage to 7 damage to a dude for 5. That will kill just about everything we've seen. It does have cycling for 4. And when you cycle Deem Worthy, you may have it deal 2 damage to target creature.
This seems very good. I would be very happy with this. It's worth noting that you can't hit a player with it, either of the effects, but this is a very good creature removal.
Yeah, this card's sweet. Yeah, because you could cycle it on turn 4, draw a card, kill a 2/2, push through, or you could deal 7 damage to their bomb and watch them be sad because they thought they were going to win.
You don't usually expect a way to kill something with 7 toughness.
Nope. Defiant Great Maw. Here's a hippo.
Oh, it's so hungry. I want to put a gremlin in that thing's mouth. 3 mana, 4/5. When Defiant Great Maw enters the battlefield, put 2 -1 counters on target creature you control. Whenever you put 1 or more minus counters on Defiant Great Maw, remove a minus counter from another target creature you control.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So it will eat up the -1 marbles of other creatures. Got it.
I like this guy. Not just because he's a hippo. We need to move on or we're just going to giggle. Here's a Desert Ceradon. This guy's a beast. Literally, creature type beast. 5 red for a 6/4 with cycling. Yeah, I've seen cards like this, but not since, like, was it Onslaught Block?
Yeah, this is real basic, but I like it. It's good. It's a big creature, but if you draw it early and you don't want 6 mana spells in your hand, get rid of it. This is sweet.
Here's another Aftermath card.
Destined to lead.
2, black. For an instant, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains indestructible until end of turn. And then we'll turn our heads 90 degrees to read lead is 3 and a green for all creatures able to block target creature this turn do so. That seems good too. I like this card.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even just saving a creature with Destined, I feel like we played versions of that at common level plenty of times in the past.
They were good then. They were sort of less explosive than what was the red one? Brute Strength that gives +3/+1. But yeah, this will prevent a trade that your opponent was expecting. And then, now that it's in your graveyard, you can cast it for 4, make all of the opponent's team block your dorkiest dork, and then push through damage with your threats.
Yeah, it's cool. I feel like a lot of people's mentality on this sort of effect from lead leans one way or the other, and it's good to remember that you have 2 options with it. You can either try and make your opponent's team block your most threatening creature to kill as much stuff as possible, or to block your weakest creature so that all your bigger things get through.
I love cards with versatility. This has tons of versatility. Even the fact that it makes the thing indestructible means you're gonna deflect their removal. They try and deal 7 damage to your creature, and you're gonna be like, well, nope, it's indestructible. What time do you have to leave?
Oh, I'm not on a timer, but I was looking at my phone because I just got a text from a friend that said, Amonkhet looks dope, which I thought was really funny.
I feel like it does. I feel like it does look dope. I didn't play, I can't even remember the name of the last set. That's how not dope it looked.
Yeah, Aether something.
Yeah. I remember looking at the spoilers a little bit and thinking, I'm just going to work that day. It's fine. But going through these cards now, I'm kind of excited for this set. Here is a Devoted Crop Mate. So we have a human farmer for 3. It is a 3/2.
Just for clarification, the creature type is human warrior.
You may exert Devoted Crotmate as it attacks. When you do, return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I read
that's
that out
very
loud,
good.
but I wasn't listening to myself. What does that do?
I was listening to you. It brings back your weenies.
Oh.
Your 1 and 2 drops when you exert it. That's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's sweet.
that's-
3 for a 3/2. I'm
good.
into it.
It's getting a little warm in here. Do you want me to turn on the air?
If you want to, we can adjust things.
Okay. We're gonna
fine.
turn on the air here. Sorry if there's a hum.
I'm not apologizing for that.
I want to make a Hummer joke, but I got nothing good.
That's fine. Nobody drives those. Dispossess. 3 mana. Choose an artifact card name. Search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the chosen name and exile them. Then that player shuffles their library. That's cool that we've had a lot of cards like this in the past. This one specifically reaches for artifacts, but is 1 mana cheaper than they usually are because of that.
Now, I feel like in Limited,
Never.
yeah,
Never.
you will see this card go around the table. People will refuse to pick cards instead of picking this card.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, there may be some really bomby problem artifact that maybe you just don't have a good answer to. I've seen people play effects like this before to name their planeswalker because they just don't have an answer to it.
Sure.
But
it's usually sideboard tech. You usually don't run it in the main deck. You put it in because they have that artifact that you can't deal with, and that's the only time you would ever play this card.
I have seen somebody lose to a planeswalker, then side in one of these name a card exile effects, and when they named that card, it turns out they had 2 planeswalkers of that in their limited pool.
Oh, wow.
So that was funny.
Dissenter's Deliverance. It's a green instant for 2, destroy target artifact, and it cycles.
All right, well, we're going to play this instead of the other one.
Yep. Yeah, we are. Dejeru's Resolve. It is a white instant for 1. Untap target creature, prevent all damage that would be dealt to it this turn. We've seen cards like this before. It's a combat
for
trick.
1 mana instant. That's solid.
Yep.
And that you can cycle it if you don't need it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Doomed Dissenter. When Doomed Dissenter dies, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So it's 2 for a 1/1, and when it dies, it makes a 2/2.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
Drakehaven for 3. When you cycle or discard a card, sorry, it's an enchantment. When you cycle or discard a card, pay 1. If you do, make a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying.
That seems very good. There's so much cycling stuff. I don't think you even need to build a cycling deck to have a bunch of cycling stuff. This seems like a priority pick.
Yeah. Dread Wanderer. 1 for a 2/1 black zombie jackal. Enters the battlefield tapped. You can pay 3 to return him from the graveyard to the battlefield as a sorcery, and only if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. Okay.
That's fine. 1 for a 2/1 is fine. And then it's got a recursion ability. You're not necessarily going to win the game on just this by itself, but it's going to maybe give you some subtle card advantage.
Yeah, you could use it to enable effects and things.
Yeah, I think if you're playing black, you play it.
Here's a Dune Beetle. It's a 1/4 for 2.
You know, for 2 mana, that seems pretty good, actually.
In black? Okay. Dusk to Dawn. For 4, 2 and a white, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. And then Dawn for 5, return all creature cards with converted power. Oh, sorry. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. All right.
So you kill all the big things, and then you get all your small things back?
Because you threw all the small things under the big thing bus earlier to not die, so you could cast this card?
I guess. Neither part seems bad. I like both of them, but they don't seem as synergistic to me as one might assume immediately.
You will play Dusk because it's a board wipe, and then Dawn is that 41st card on your deck.
Yeah.
Edifice of Authority. Here's a 3 mana artifact. Pay 1, tap, target creature can't attack this turn. Put a brick counter on Edifice of Authority.
Oh, you were telling me about this before.
Yep. Pay 1, tap. Until your next turn, target creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Activate this ability only if there are 3 or more brick counters on Edifice of Authority.
Okay, so you stop things from attacking for a little bit, but then you stop them from being able to attack or block or do other things.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That seems good. It was 1 mana? 3 mana for that. That still seems fine. Yeah, I think I would be pretty happy playing this in most limited decks.
Especially in Sealed, this is going to be a great way to keep yourself from getting run over. Electrify for 4, deals 4 damage to target creature.
That's fine.
That's an instant.
Yeah, instant speed. I love it.
Yep. Embalmer's Tools. Activated abilities of creature cards in your graveyard cost 1 less to activate. Oh, that's relevant.
You embalm easier.
Yep. Tap an untapped zombie you control. Target player puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard.
That's cool because, as you mentioned before, you can use that on yourself and keep fueling your embalming.
Yep. I like this card.
Also, between that and the blue thing, you could actually build an aggressive mill deck, I
Yeah,
think.
you probably could. Emberhorn Minotaur for 4. It's a 4/3. You may exert Emberhorn Minotaur as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+1 and gains Menace until end of turn. So 4 for a 4/3 is fine. And man, I really get the feeling that Menace is not an effect you want to use all the time. You're gonna use it. I mean, obviously you can't use it every turn because your dude
Every
is tapped.
other turn, perhaps.
But you're not going to want to. You're not going to want to trigger Menace every time this creature attacks. Which I really like, actually.
I think that's true of a lot of the exert abilities. I don't know. I think the first time I saw it, I thought, oh, you're just gonna attack with this creature every other turn. But I like the idea that you're just gonna attack with it as normal, and then the turn it matters, you really exert it.
Yep. Enigma Drake. This is 3 is it colors for a Drake, an X4. Enigma Drake's power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard.
It seems fine.
Yeah.
Uh,
This sort of goes along with the self-mill thing that Blue's got going on.
yeah.
Because you get access to your embalm creatures earlier, but also it fuels effects like this.
There have been
And
a
we've
couple
seen
things
2.
that have checked it
Yep.
for instants and sorceries.
So this card's
I think at the point, even if you have 1 instant or sorcery, this is worth it in a limited environment. 3 for a 1/4 flyer is all right.
yeah. You're gonna block their Drakes. It's gonna be good. Essence Scatter. Counterspell. Counter target creature spell. Evolving Wilds. We know what this card does. Exemplar of Strength. 2 for a 4/4 in green. It's a human warrior. When Exemplar of Strength enters the battlefield, put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature you control. When it attacks, remove a -1/-1 counter from it, and you gain 1 life. So it comes down, assuming no other creatures, it comes down as a 1/1. The turn it attacks, it's a 2/2, and you gain a life. And then it just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, it seems all right.
I kind of like this mechanic too.
Yeah, I feel like if you play this on turn 2, you're going to be really happy about it. But if you play it on turn 5, you're going to be sad because they're not going to care that you've got a 1/1 that might be a 2/2.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to be able to kill it.
Yep.
That said, I think it's fine. I would still absolutely play this probably in most decks with green.
So it's good early without much board presence, and it's good late if you have a board presence. Failure.
To
Also-
comply.
2 blue.
Wait, let's do that. You always say the first part, and then I'll say to something.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I like it. Let's want to try.
Yeah.
Failure.
To comply.
It is a blue instant for 2. Return target spell to its owner's hand. That's a kind of a rare effect.
Yeah, it's become a little more common. The first couple times they ever did that, I was like, ooh, big deal. This is interesting to have sort of on its own.
Because you basically, it's not a counter spell. It's like bounce, but before the thing has resolved.
Yep.
You want to read comply?
Yeah, we'll do that. So the aftermath is white for 1 white sorcery. Choose a card name until your next turn. Your opponents can't cast spells with the same name.
So you could, in theory, you could fire this off on their turn to bounce their spell, and then on your turn you could spend 1 white to prevent them from casting that spell.
Yeah, if there was, big problem spell for you. You could also just use comply if you know, oh man, there's that one spell they could play that would make me lose the game, and then just play it safe. It's not ideal. I wouldn't play comply by itself, but just like all these others, I'd be playing failure and then get a free comply out of it.
Yep. Faith of the Devoted, a black enchantment for 3. Whenever you cycle or discard, you may pay 1. If you do, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life.
That seems really good.
Yeah.
Man, all this cycling stuff seems very good.
I just want to draw cards. And
Yeah.
This rewards me for doing that.
That's sort of brought to my mind that people cycling a bunch of cards, drawing a bunch of things, also gonna maybe speed up the mill stuff. The more
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, I think that might be a win condition we see somewhat common.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's
We'll
not
see.
wrong to target your opponent. Maybe you should try and mill him out. Do that, and let us know if it works.
Yell at us when we cost you a game.
I milled myself, and I lost. Thanks, limited skills. Here's a fan bearer. It is a guy literally holding a fan. It is 1 white for a 1/2 zombie that says pay 2, tap target creature. It's Dave, Gideon's buddy.
It costs more for the activation, but it's got a 2 toughness. So and it's also a zombie, which is, I think, a lot better creature type. So.
And he's not holding a violent whip. He's got a fan. He's like, man, you're hot. Just sit down. I'm going to fan you for a little bit.
That is the actual theme of this. And that is blowing my mind that we have our humans and our soldiers being the violent ones. And then we bring along this peaceful zombie to let us chill out. It was amazing. I love magic.
Here's a festering mummy, the flip side of that zombie.
Yeah.
Here is a 1 black for a 1/1. And when festering mummy dies, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature.
Yeah, we've seen the similar effects before.
Yep.
That's very much like a goblin. I think something else.
Oh, there was a goblin, festering
I think
goblin.
Festering Goblin, yeah.
Yep. Festering goblin was good. This guy will be.
This
as
is
good.
better. Well, okay. Festering Goblin was a goblin, but this is a May. Whereas
okay.
the other goblin, I think, could screw you out of a creature.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, this is better then.
Yep.
Fetid Pools. This is another of that cycle
Amazing.
lands. It's good.
I'm predicting value in these.
You should take them. You don't have to play them. Just take them. Final reward for 4 instant exile target creature. This is
4 and a black, not just 4.
Sorry, it's 5 mana. I was gonna say at 4 mana this is premier removal. You should first pick it highly. At 5 mana this is premier removal, and you should pick it highly.
I would be very happy, especially with all the embalm. You're oftentimes going to be killing 2 creatures with this.
Yep.
In that sense.
Flameblade Adept. This is a 1/2 for 1 in red with Menace, and when you cycle or discard a card, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So it's got a weird kind of.
Jackals are awesome.
Yep. The art is sweet on that. This guy is too cool to be a 1/2.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a 2/2 a lot of the times. Also, Menace. This is sweet. I like this card. This seems very good.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually play this even as 1 for a 1/2 with just Menace. In that sort of rare, I don't play 1-drops very often thing.
Sure.
But then it's also got another ability that synergizes with half of the set, so.
Yeah. I like this guy. Fling.
I love Fling. Oh my god. Sacrifice your creatures and kill stuff.
Yep.
Usually your opponent.
Yeah. Yeah. Fling is good. This is also going to be a high value card. This card should push you into red. You should take it. Floodwaters. Oh, look, it's Noah's Ark.
Is there an arc in this picture?
It kind of looks like
No.
it could be a big temple.
These are... He took 2 of each animal. These are the other 99% of the animals getting flooded.
So this is a blue sorcery for 6. Return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. And also it's cycling... They should have called this card Noah's Ark. Because you're saving 2 creatures.
Yeah, but the rest of them are just chilling on dry land killing you.
Yeah. Also, it cycles for 2. This card's fine.
This is fine. I would not be excited about this cost if it didn't have cycling to be able to pitch it.
Yep. Forsake the Worldly. 3 white, exile target artifact or enchantment. I have a number of friends who are excited about this card, specifically for Commander, because it's instant speed, artifact, and enchantment exile, which is pretty rare.
And that it has cycling. Yeah, I would consider this an EDH staple immediately.
Also, it's going to be sideboard worthy. I think it's still a little unclear. We're only at the Fs. How many artifacts and enchantments you're really going to have to worry about.
Yeah. Man, just play it for the cycling. That seems relevant enough, right?
Yeah, I suppose it's 2 mana, draw a card. And then you might get to hit something.
Triggered 15 cards.
Yeah, oh, that's true. You're right. You should just play this for the cycling and trigger all the other cards in your deck.
I think at the least we know there's at least a cycle of uncommon legendary artifacts. I think I would play this if I were in white, at least one of.
Think it's going to be better? Do you think you would want to... I don't know how to ask this question. Do you think this card would be good in sealed? Would you main deck this in sealed?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is
Okay.
In sealed or draft, I would play one.
Yeah, because folks are going to be more likely to play that dorky little artifact.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Gale Strike. 3 for a blue instant. Return target tapped creature to its owner's hand. That and it cantrips. This card's sweet.
Yeah, this is very good. I like it. Reasonable for an uncommon. But even when they're just attacking in,
Yeah.
but you have more options than just that. So I would probably play this card every time I was in blue.
Yeah, I love this card. I want to play blue for this card. Also, the art, that looks like Hawkman. Just...
We were just talking about wing shards recently. He's basically doing that.
Yeah. Only it's not an owl.
Yeah. He would lose to an owl.
Gate to the Afterlife. Oh, the card text is so little. Ugh.
Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you gain 1 life. Then you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card.
Okay, so first, let me just understand
Yeah,
that
we're
part.
only halfway through this. So.
When a non-token creature dies, gain a life, and then loot.
Yes.
Okay. But, yeah, gain a
2,
life, loot.
tap and sacrifice it. Search your graveyard, hand, and or library for a card named God Pharaoh's Gift and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. Activate this ability only if there are 6 or more creature cards in your graveyard. I'm real excited about finding out what God Pharaoh's Gift does.
Well, we're going to find it soon. I don't know how to evaluate this card otherwise.
Yeah, I wouldn't think too highly about this card unless that other one seems really good.
If this is your 23rd card, okay.
Yeah.
But I would look really hard for a different 23rd card.
Probably any creature.
Giant Spider.
Classic. I love it.
2/4 with reach.
It's got cool art, too.
Yep. Gideon. Oh, here's Gideon. Here's our first
he's
Planeswalker.
not a God Pharaoh thing. Gideon of the Trials. 3 mana Planeswalker. He comes in with 3 loyalty. +1 until your next turn. Prevent all damage target permanent would deal. His second ability is 0. Until end of turn, Gideon of the Trials becomes a 4/4 human soldier creature with indestructible. That's still a Planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him.
That's pretty Gideon.
Yeah, that's so Gideon. So yeah, he's sort of a 3 mana 4/4. His third ability is also 0 loyalty. You get an emblem with, as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. So you can immediately slam him down and get an emblem.
And then you just can't lose unless they kill it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. That's neat. That's situational to
so they have
pile of Gideons.
They have a thought to think about. Well, I mean, okay, so for us, it's most relevant in limited. This card comes down, and now they have a choice. It can immediately protect itself because they can prevent damage or permanent would deal. So you can neuter their biggest threat. And if they couldn't immediately kill it this turn, then you can use its other minus ability to prevent you from losing the game forever.
Yeah, I don't... That emblem, it's strange. I don't think you want to use that unless you think you're going to die, because otherwise you're just not getting an effect.
It's true, because you're not really doing much that turn.
You're not getting any effect from it unless you think they're going to do something to remove you from the game to beat you.
If they're about to mill you out, you should use this
That's
effect.
interesting. Yeah, there you go. That's a really good time for it. But yeah, otherwise I feel like you either want to prevent damage going to you or make a 4/4 and beat face with it. Because if you spend a turn making that emblem, here's the truth. They want to get rid of your Planeswalker regardless of whether you have that emblem. So that's going to be their priority usually anyway.
Yeah.
If you're at 2 life, you might play him and play the emblem because then they have to deal with that first. But otherwise, that's what they want to do anyway.
Huh. Gideon. Weird. Gideon's Intervention.
This is where he cuts in and tells me I am wrong about him and he is much better.
All right, so a 4 mana enchantment that enters the battlefield and you can choose a card name. Gideon. Your opponent can't cast spells with the chosen name. Okay. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and permanents you control by sources with the chosen name.
That's neat. So it nullifies a card.
This is a standard card, I think.
Yeah. Seems good. That seems cool. I think I like this more than other versions of this card, because if you're trying to prevent a specific creature, even if they already have one down there,
Oh, that's true.
then it somewhat negates that
Yeah,
creature.
it is like a weird kind of pacifism, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they can still block with it, but it's not going to deal any damage.
Yeah. Okay. This card's interesting.
Yeah, it seems fine.
We'll have to play
I
it
would
a few
probably
times,
play
I
it
think.
in limited. I would at least give it a try.
Gift of Paradise. 3 green, enchant a land. When Gift of Paradise enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life, and it taps to add 2 mana of any color to your mana pool.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. It's a little bit of mana ramp and
A little bit
some
of life gain.
incidental life gain.
Yep.
Which is the best way to gain life.
I kind of like, and it's mana of any one color, so it could only add blue or red or whatever. But sometimes that's what you need to fix your deck.
Yeah.
I think I like this card. I don't know. This is one of those cards we're gonna have to play the format a little bit to see if it's good, but just at face value in a bubble, this card seems neat. Glorious End.
Oh, my roommate told me about this one as soon as it was spoiled.
Why don't you read it for us
It's
then?
very exciting. So 3 mana instant, end of the turn. And if you don't know what that means, it means you stop whatever's happening. You just empty out the stack. The spells don't resolve. The combat ends. There's the entire card is basically a reminder's text, just telling you what you do when you end the turn. The only other part of the card says, at the beginning of the next end step, you lose the game. So you can end your opponent's turn either first thing at their upkeep, or if they're in the middle of their combat and they're tapped out and they're expecting to do something cool second main, or while they've got a spell on the stack and it essentially exiles it, countering it. But you've got to finish it on the next turn. So this is cool. This is a throwback to an old card. I believe it was called Final Fortune. Could be making that up, but it just gave you an extra turn in red, and you lost at the end of that next turn. So this is very similar to that. Interesting note, if you have multiple of these, at the beginning of your next end step, you lose the game. That goes on the trigger, you losing the game. You could respond to it with a second copy of this and end your turn with that trigger on the stack, and then buy yourself another turn. That's not ideal, but man, why not? Play 17 of these.
If you could do that, that would be really cool. Let us know in the if you watch this 3 or 4 years down the line, please tell us that you did this. And we will send you 1 internet cookie. I do want to summarize, though, because Brandon said a lot of complicated things. Basically, you will use this card when you have lethal and you don't want your opponent to screw it up for you. You just need them to do nothing, or you need their nothing to stop so that you can kill them on your next turn. That's how you use this spell. Glory-bound Initiate. This is a human warrior. It's 1 and a white for 3/1. You may exert Glory-bound Initiate as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+3 and lifelink until end of turn.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh yeah, it
it's
becomes
2
a
for a
4/4.
4/4 lifelink.
Yeah, this guy
I
do
would
think you
exert
want to
him
exert
every
time.
turn.
Yeah,
Because
man, coming down on turn 2 and attacking turn 3 with a 4/4.
if they don't have a blocker, I'll just hit them with the 3, so that as soon as they get a blocker, it's going to be bigger. But yeah, if they have any creature out, I'll be exerting it.
Yeah, I like this guy. Glorybringer. Oh, it's a dragon. It looks like a crocodile.
It looks like a crocodragon.
It is
Dragodile.
I like Dragodile.
I want to go on to RuPaul's. That's a Dragodile.
This is 3 and a red.
Glory bringer.
For Glorybringer, it is a 4/4 flying haste dragon. You can exert Glorybringer, and it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls. That's a very specific... So you cannot use this to remove other Glorybringers.
That is, well, it's just trying to increase the number of Dragodiles. No, this card seems sweet. 5 for a 4/4 flying haste is pretty solid and is gonna destroy a lot of games of limited anyway.
So this card comes down, it attacks, and it menaces is not the right word. It exerts, and it lightning helix. Well, the lightning helix gains you life. This doesn't do that, but it exerts and it deals 4 damage to a creature, and then 4 damage to their face.
Yeah, this
For
thing's
5.
sweet.
Even if it never untapped ever again, I think I would still play this.
If, as a 5-mana sorcery,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That is playable at that rate. And again, I think with all the other exerts, I don't think you necessarily have to exert it every time that you can, but this one is a little more tempting to do that, for sure.
Oh, and there's a cool full art promo
Oh, yeah,
version.
looks like that's going to be the game day promo.
Oh, and I want to come to game day because that card's cool. Glyph Keeper it's blue. It's a flying sphinx. It's a 5/3 and it's 3 for a blue. You want to tell me what it does?
Yeah, flying. Whenever Glyph Keeper becomes the target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. So it's got that glass spinner ability, and you can embalm it for 7. That's pretty.
It makes it
relatively
very hard to
simple,
remove.
but it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good. Man, 5 for a 5/3 flyer with that ability. This is going to be very good and limited.
Yeah, this is going to seal.
This is going to frustrate people,
Yep.
I think. And then, man, you finally deal with it that first time, which I guess you could just do with a 3/3 flyer. I'm sure there's some of those.
We'll have to keep an eye out.
There's that black bird that you could cast for 1 mana that could trade with it.
Yep.
Regardless of it having Death Touch.
Yeah.
Anyway, that said, having to deal with this a second time, yeah, I'm excited about doing that to people.
Brandon loves ruining fun, and this card ruins fun. There's its token.
Another desert.
Grasping Dunes. You can sacrifice it to put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Neat. So you could use this to fuel your own abilities?
That's true, yeah. You can put a creature on a lot of the green and green-black things.
Yep.
Give you costs of removing the counters, but also kill their little weenie thing or make it smaller.
Yeah. Gravedigger. When you dig my grave, will you give me a creature back?
Classic. This always is good and limited. Oh, interesting. They realize this is going to be better because it's an uncommon this time. It's usually a common.
Yep.
So a little less frequent we'll be seeing this in play. However, the reason for that is because there is a lot of self-mill stuff, and there's going to be a lot of ways to sort of
fuel it.
Really give yourself a lot of options.
Yeah. This card's
also
powerful.
zombie.
Yeah. Play it even if you're not self-milling. I mean, you'll get a thing back. Greater Sandworm. You'll get back this Greater Sandworm.
Oh, the cycling too. You cycle your creature in, and then you get immediate value.
Yep.
Didn't even think about it till 2 seconds later.
When we looked at the next card. So this is a 7/7, and there's a red burn spell that kills this. It is 7/7 for 7, green, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, so you can't chump it.
Yeah, I like these effects on big creatures for specifically that reason. If they've got a pile of 1/1s, they can't stop it that way.
Yeah, this card's going to be a fine finisher, and it'll be fine early game too, because you can cycle it, and like we said, get it back with your Gravedigger. Here's a Grim Strider. It's a 6/6 for 4.
This thing looks cool.
And it gets -1/-1 counters for each card in your hand.
Oh.
So
ramping into it sucks, except that you can still use those counters for other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card seems fine. I think I like this. If you're playing very aggressively, there's a
this
lot
would
of
be a great
aggressive
top end.
decks that you will basically be out of cards at 4 and 5 mana.
Yeah.
That, empty your hand out, and then you probably are going to have 4 for a 5/5, and that's sweet.
Gustwalker. Okay, hang on. Let me go back a second. Grim Strider. When you cast this, as it's resolving, it doesn't count as in your hand, right?
Oh. No, it doesn't. I was thinking it came in with counters. Sorry, I misworded that. This does not have counters. It's constantly checking as your hand changes. Okay, so you can't use these -1/-1s to pay for costs on things.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for going back and clarifying.
Okay, yeah. So if you have no cards in hand, it's a 6/6. But when you draw your card for turn, it becomes a 5/5 again.
It's interesting. It's going to encourage people to empty out their hands instead of bluffing that basic land
or whatever
in their hand at the end.
Gustwalker. White human wizard for 2. It is a bear, and you can exert it to get a +1/+1. It gets +1/+1 and flying. Okay.
Yeah, seems good.
Yep.
Swing in until you need the flying.
And then keep swinging in. Hapatra's Mask.
Mark.
Yeah.
Not Mark's mask, but Hapatra's mark.
It is a green instant for green. 1 solitary green. Target creature you control gains hexproof until end of turn. Remove all -1/-1 counters from it. That's sweet.
Yeah, that's neat.
This card was good when it just gave hexproof.
Yeah, absolutely. Counter some removal or whatever weird thing they're trying to do.
It would counter
to
their
it.
-1/-1 counters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Counters on counters.
Could you cast, say, that beetle to put a bunch of -1/-1 counters on some other creature, and then play this in response to give that other creature... No, because...
You're referencing too many cards that I'm not familiar with
Never
yet.
mind, the question is stupid. Let's look at Hepatra, Vizier of Poisons. She is green-black. I'm already excited. Green-black is my favorite color pair. For a 2/2, legendary human cleric. Whenever Hepatra, Vizier of Poisons, deals combat damage to a player, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. So
Seems good.
yeah, so you get her, you attack in when you can to try and get that incremental value. But if you're not attacking, you're casting all those cards that put -1/-1 counters on things, and you get Death Touch snakes.
Yeah, I feel like her first ability seems really trivial unless you've got some kind of pump effect to make her bigger.
The second effect makes her really good.
Yeah, it's cool that they gave her built-in synergy, but I mean, I don't know, if they've got a 2/2, they're gonna trade with her and take
for
it and
sure.
then make your guy a 1/1.
Yeah.
But yeah, she seems fine. I mean, 2 for a 2/2 was always good and limited.
Yep. Harsh Mentor. I feel like Hepatra, Vizier of Poisons would be a Harsh Mentor. This is 2 for a 2/2 in red. It's a human cleric. When an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, Harsh Mentor deals 2 damage to that player.
So this card seems insane.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, so we talk about 2 for 2/2s a lot, but there are differences in which colors have 2 for a 2/2, and red doesn't get as many of those, and that's a little bigger than your average 2-drop red creature.
Yeah, that's true.
Usually you'll get a 2/1 at 2 mana, or if it's a 2/2, it's got a weird, like, has to attack every turn or something. This is 2 for a 2/2 that has a sweet extra ability on it. I'm excited about this. I think a lot of aggressive decks... Well, obviously, in Limited, you always want to play it, but I wouldn't be surprised if even in Standard, some aggressive decks played this. But that's going to be dependent on what other people are playing.
Yeah, this guy's going to be good early because it's just going to be beats. And then late game, it's going to make your opponent think twice about using that effect or ability because it's going to push through an extra little damage they might not be able to deal with. There are going to be times where this is going to lock an opponent out of his board.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
if they take 2 damage, they lose. Harvest Season. This is a green sorcery for 3. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of tapped creatures you control, and put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library.
I do not think this card seems good.
Yeah.
This is going to probably be a near last pick in most drafts. I think situationally it can do some cool things in EDH. Maybe in Limited once in a while you'll get to do something flashy with it, but I don't think you usually want this card taking up a slot in your deck.
Yeah, because let's unpack it a little bit, right? So you cast it on turn 3. If you're lucky, if you're very lucky, and your deck's firing on all cylinders, you're going to get 2 lands.
I mean, if you got a bunch of 1-drops, you could maybe get 3 lands.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're playing such an aggressive deck, you don't want to waste a turn casting mana ramp.
Yeah, so in the deck where this is going to trigger early, it's playing counter to your strategy.
Yeah.
And in the deck where you want to ramp, by the time it comes down, you're going to be around the mana to cast the big things anyway.
So you saying that made me think of maybe a situation where this would be real exciting is if you have a bunch of mana dork creatures.
Yeah.
Then you're using those to ramp into Harvest Season, and then they are tapped creatures. But yeah, not too excited.
Yeah, because it's even equal to the number of tapped creatures. So you have to attack. So you have... Oh, God, you're right. That makes this card even worse. Because your creatures have to attack, and then they have to survive combat. I suppose they don't have to attack. If they're mana dorks, they could tap, or you could somehow waste your removal to tap your creature so you could get some... Yeah, this card's bad. Don't play it. Haze of Pollen. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. It's fog. But it cycles.
Yeah, cycles 3. I'm still not super excited about this card because it's twice as much as Fog, which I normally wouldn't play, even at 1 mana. Very situationally. and the cycling is more expensive than I think anything else we've seen cycling in this entire set so far.
There was one that cycled for 4.
Was there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it had an extra effect too though.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I expect this card to prevent all combat damage. Target creature dealt this turn or something. Well, I don't know. I don't like this card either.
Yeah. So I know people like to play Fog because they always talk about that one time where they cast Fog and it won them the game. And that will happen. You will cast Fog, and then on the next turn you'll win the game. But most of the time, you will be casting Fog to try and survive another turn. And really all you did is bought yourself another turn. You didn't affect the board state. You didn't remove a creature, you didn't push damage. You just didn't lose.
Which is funny because now you can cycle it and get to that next turn faster.
Yeah. Yeah, this card's not great. This is like 24th pick if your sealed pool is really weak. And even then...
If you got a bunch of cycling stuff, I could understand it.
Yeah, because this could trigger all those cool cycling effects. Play a forest. Sorry, play a forest instead of this card. Hazard's Favor. At the beginning of combat, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature you control get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. If you do, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I like this.
It's good in aggressive decks.
Yeah, make your deck even more aggressive.
It's good in it's cute with menace creatures.
Yeah. Or, well, anything with evasion, really.
Yeah. This card's cool.
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, push a bunch of extra damage through with haste. I feel like...
I don't think it goes in every deck, but I think if you're playing that aggressive low curve deck, this is an effect you want.
I think the fact that it's a May, I think I would play it in most decks because, man, knowing that you could potentially just drop your 6 power creature but give it 2/0 in haste,
or even just attack with a 3/2.
I think people will play around it weird.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. On second pass, I think Brandon's right. I think this card is going to be very good. We'll have to play around with it a little bit. Give us your feedback and let us know what you think. This is a complex little duder.
Yeah, that is hard to say. That's hard to make a call, but I'm leaning towards I would be excited to draft that card. So when I lose with it a bunch, then I'll let you know otherwise.
Here's Hazard's Monument. Oh, it's that cycle of things that makes red cards cheaper and lets you draw a card.
Okay.
This one loots.
When you cast a creature, you
discard a card, draw a
red
card.
loot, where you discard first and draw. Yeah, that seems good.
Yeah.
I would like doing that with my creatures.
Yeah, I do like looting. Is it a May? You may discard. So, yeah, this card's real good. I'd probably
If you
try
got a
and
bunch
shove
of
this in.
embalm creatures, then you can embalm them after you discard them.
Uh-huh. Hazard the Fervent, legendary creature. It's here's our god. It's 4 for a 5/4, indestructible haste. Hazard the Fervent can't attack or block unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. That's the... No, that's not all. Never mind. Anyway, Hazard the Fervent has pay 2 and a red to discard a card and deal 2 damage to each opponent. So it's kind of got a lightning bolt built in, and then when you're done throwing away all the cards in your hand, now you have a 5/4 indestructible with haste.
It's cool. It gives you an outlet to pitch some cards.
I like
get
that
some
it
damage
comes
to
down
face.
late game as a hasty creature.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you top deck it, and he's just a huge thing.
Yeah, very good top deck.
There's our unreadable version of him.
Here is Piercer. Heart. It is a red Manticore. 4 for a 4/3 with a lot of text, so I'm going to make Brandon read it.
When Heartpiercer Manticore enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Heartpiercer Manticore deals damage equal to that creature's power to target creature or player. So he picks up something and throws it at them.
It's fling on a stick.
Yeah.
And then you can embalm it
and
do it again.
Embalms for 6. That's cool. So yeah, this is... Yeah, it just flings something when it comes in. And
it's a May trigger, so if he's the only thing you have, you don't have to sacrifice him to his own ability.
You specifically have to sacrifice another creature, but it is still a May, so you don't have to kill what your other bomb is.
Yeah. I like this guy a lot.
Yeah, he seems sweet. 4 for a 4/3 is very good and limited as well.
His token looks cool.
Yeah, the mummified tokens are all really neat looking.
Haven.
Heaven.
Heaven.
To Earth.
Heaven is a green instant for X and 1 that deals X damage to each creature with flying. So it's Hurricane.
That's cool. And Earth is Earthquake minus the player damage. So it's red, and X to deal X damage to non-flyers.
All right.
All of them.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Having the option of both. I would be very excited to play that in red-green.
Do you think you main deck this card? Because there's going to be some times where it's uncastable. You'll just have to waste it for. I mean, I guess a green and 0 throws it away.
What's kind of neat about exactly. If you need the Earth, you just spend 1 green at instant speed, and it's in your graveyard.
Yeah.
So that's really cool about that. And you can occasionally kill a flyer with it, and that seems sweet. I think I would main deck this if I were in red green. Probably not if I were just red or just green.
Sure. Heckma Sentinels. This is a blue human cleric for 3. It's a 2/3. And when you cycle or discard a card, Heckma Sentinels gets +1/+1 until end of turn.
Basic, but good.
It's kind of interesting to note that we haven't seen any of the... What was that new keyword that's on blue and red cards? When you cast an instant sorcery?
Prowess.
Prowess. We haven't seen Prowess yet, but we have seen this effect, which is like Prowess.
Yeah, that's true. Just because it is, they made Prowess an evergreen ability doesn't mean they have to put it in every set. They just, they give us the option.
But I like that. I mean, we're only on the H's, so maybe there are more cards. But I do like that they've sort of subbed out Prowess for this effect. It seems very synergistic. I like the flavor of it, right? Because you're sending cards into the graveyard.
I just now realized that we're partway through the H's that we didn't see that God Pharaoh whatever card, so that's going to come in a future set.
Yep.
So no idea if that card is worth it.
Don't
Probably
play
not.
it. Hieroglyphic Illumination. This is the blue card that draws you cards. It's 4
mana instant to draw 2 cards is fine anyway.
Yeah.
Usually divination is sorcery speed for 1 less mana.
That's true.
And then this also has cycling, so you have your choice of 4 mana for 2 cards or 1 mana for 1 card.
So this is just a straight upgrade on divination.
Not quite because it's still 1 mana more, but I mostly like it a lot better. Yeah.
Also, I like how he's looking at all those hieroglyphs. He's puzzling it out. The answers are there, and he's just got to find them. Here's a Honed Kopesh. It's 1 for an artifact equipment that gives your creature +1/+1. Its equip cost is 1.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's fine. That is basic and simple, but you'll be surprised, I think, at how often making one creature after another one bigger than...
Sometimes 1 toughness makes a difference. Honored Crop Captain for red-white. We have our Boros 3/2. It's a human warrior. And when it attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+0 till end of turn.
That's so good.
It's an anthem on a stick.
That is so good.
Yeah. This card's cool.
Yeah, if you are... I would play this in any limited deck in red-white, but especially if you're coming out hyper-aggressive, this is going to destroy people.
Oh, yeah. Honored Hydra. I don't know why I'm in charge of reading all of a sudden. Honored Hydra does... It's a 6/6 for 6 with trample, and it embalms for 4. Is it rare?
Yeah, that's really basic. I think this is going to be a valueless rare, but I think it's going to be very good and limited.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Here's an interesting note. This is the first card I've noticed where I think the embalm is cheaper than the casting cost. So if you have ways to discard it, or
yeah, that's cool.
Or search it into your graveyard, you can sort of ramp into a 6/6 trample for 4 mana.
Yeah, this guy's just sort of generically good. I don't think he would be enough to push you into green. Maybe splashable if you're in some other weird color.
If you just need a big creature, I think dealing with 2 6/6 with trample is trouble.
Yep. Because a lot of times I think we've seen embalm is like it'll be 3 and 2 green. This guy's just 1.
Yep.
So very splashable.
He's much easier to cast.
Very splashable. Hooded Brawler. This is a Naga. This is a snake person. 3 for a 3/2 in green. When you exert Hooded Brawler, it gets +2/+2.
Hey,
okay.
That's basic and good. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, this guy's fine. This is
3
going to
for
be like
3/2 and then make it a bigger thing.
It's going to make up the meat and potatoes of your green decks.
The more and more we keep seeing of exert, the more excited I feel like all these exert cards are very good.
Yeah. Horror of the Broken Lands. This is a black creature for 5. It's a 4/4. When you cycle or discard another card, Horror of the Broken Lands gets +2/+1 till end of turn. And it cycles for 1 black.
Okay, I think this seems really good for a common. The art kind of creeping me out, and I
Yep.
don't want to play with or against this card because it's going to give me nightmares.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Ew.
If you're just listening, please look at the screen and imagine...
No, look away.
Hyena Pack for 5. This is a 3/4 with no abilities.
That's 4 mana.
If it's 4, this is a 3/4 with no abilities. This is an ogre. It's a hill giant, right?
Hill Giant's a 3/3. So it's better than Hill Giant, except double red. But yeah, this is... Okay, so this is usually a good size for limited. 3/4s, I feel like they survive way more stuff than you expect them to. So without really seeing the synergies of this deck and what level power and toughness we're looking for, I want to guess this 3/4 is going to cause people a lot more grief than you would expect for a vanilla creature.
Sure. Illusory Wrappings. It's a blue enchantment for 3. And enchanted creature has base power and toughness of 0/2.
That's neat.
Yep, blue removal. This is how blue deals with things. Impeccable timing.
Hey, we saw this card recently.
We did. This is a white instant for 2. It deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. This is how white deals with things.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is premier white removal. You should pick it highly if you are in white. Now, if you open a pack and you find impeccable timings in that pack, is this card good enough to pick over something else? Like, I know that was a weird way to ask that question.
There are a lot of things I would pick over this.
Okay.
But also...
This card wouldn't ever
I would
push you
pick this
into
one.
white.
It could. It could, absolutely. Yeah, it is good enough. Impeccable timing is very good removal. Because, okay, it seems like a pain because you have to wait until combat to be able to use it, but that's also the best time to usually do tricks, like combat tricks, so you can frequently get extra value out of removing things while they're attacking.
Sure. Okay. Initiate's Companion. This is a cat.
It's cute.
It's 2 for a 3/1. And it's green. Whenever Initiate's Companion deals combat damage to a player, untap target creature or land. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like this. This is a really good common.
Yeah.
2 for a 3/1 with an added effect.
They're going to want to block it, so you're probably only ever going to get the effect once.
Yeah,
Because
especially since it's got 1 toughness.
Yeah, they're not going to want to let you keep untapping creatures and lands. So expect it to die. Kind of treat it like a janky removal.
You know, you're going to have to cartouche the hell out of it.
In Oketra's Name. This is a 2-mana white instant that gives zombies you control +2/+1 until end of turn, and other creatures you control +1/+1 till end of
Oh
turn.
man, I am crazy excited about this card.
I just like how it interacts with the rest of the set.
Wow, this card surprises me as a comment. People are gonna get blown out by this constantly. This is an
Because they're going to
incredibly
forget that
powerful
all
comment.
those tokens are zombies, and then...
I mean, other than the zombie synergy, this would be fine. Okay, so I'm thinking of... Oh, why would I try and think of a card name to share?
So there's a card.
So, yeah, it's the most recent set, and it's been repaired a few times, but we get the +2/+1 effect to your team usually for 4 mana at instant speed. So for 2 less mana, you're pumping your whole team +1/+1 instead of +2/+1, but then you're still getting that full bonus on your zombies, which, as you noted, is the most popular creature type in this set, probably. This is very good. If you are even a medium-sized creature deck, I would be very happy to play probably 2 of these most of the time.
What would you consider too few creatures to make this card good?
13?
13?
I don't know, I think if I were playing 14 or more creatures, I would play 1 of these, and I don't know, if I got up to 20 creatures, I would probably play 3 of them. like no removal, just 20 creatures and 3 of these. That might be excessive, but no, this is a very good team pumping effect, which I'm fond of naturally.
Insult
to Injury.
This is a red sorcery for 3. Damage can't be prevented. Brandon's so proud. We got one right, guys. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Any damage from anywhere. If a source you control would deal damage this turn, it deals double that damage. Wow.
That's really good for 3 mana.
Oh, yeah.
Injury, also 3 mana sorcery. Injury deals 2 damage to target creature and 2 damage to target player.
So here's the thing. You can cast Insult, and then if you have 3 more mana, you can cast Injury. And now it deals 4 damage to creature and player.
That's not true. Oh,
No?
wait, double. Wait. Oh, man, okay. I'm going to start listening to you more, because that's exactly what you said. I don't know what bad card I was making up in my head, but yeah, this card is sweet.
So Just Insult is good, and Just Injury is good, and both of these together is amazing.
And the expectations of mana isn't terrible. It's only 6 mana to cast
Yeah.
both of them on the same turn.
This card's sweet.
This seems like a very good game-ending blowout card.
And when you're done casting Injury, then you get to attack, and your dudes deal double damage. This will ruin people.
Yeah, there's no way I would not play this card if I were in red.
Oh, God. I want to be in red now. I want to play red, green, black, blue, white. Irrigated farmland.
Blue,
this
white.
card lets me do that. This is one of those cycle lands. We've talked about them. They do stuff. Here's Kefnet's Monument. Kefnet's Monument, so whenever you cast a creature spell, target creature an opponent controls doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. That's good.
That's interesting. It doesn't tap something, which would probably be too powerful, which is why they would exclude that.
Yeah.
But unless your opponent's already attacking into you, you might not get an effect out of this one. I'm less excited about this one than the others.
That's true. Huh. I don't know how to... I feel like this is another one of those cards we'll just have to play a little bit and see if it ends up being good or not. But here's Kefnet the Mindful. Kefnet, is it a she? It's a heron.
It's a she-ish.
She-ish. Sheesh. 3 for a 5/5 legendary creature. It is flying and indestructible, and it can't attack or block unless you have 7 or more cards in hand. But you can pay 4 to draw a card and return a land you control to its owner's hand.
It's good to note you don't have to return the land. That's just optional if you want to get your hand size up. The strange thing I feel about this is that I feel like most games... Okay.
It's going to be hard to make it a creature.
I've got my mindset locked into limited hard. I feel like a control deck that's constructed would probably love this card.
Probably.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if this got played in standard. In limited, I feel like if you've got 7 cards in your hand, like you're winning other ways. You don't necessarily need this. But it is cool to be able to draw cards. That's fine.
I think this is an interesting commander card because there are a lot of lands that people play in EDH that have enter the battlefield triggers. And landfall exists.
Definitely.
And I have a landfall deck that wishes it had blue in it so that it could trigger this. Yeah. I don't know what more to say about this card. I don't know if it's that great for limited, but it's definitely going to be standard playable.
I would certainly still play it. I don't know. Just having the card draw effect, I think,
That's true.
is good enough for limited.
The option to draw a card when you have nothing else to do is good.
Yeah.
And here's its friggin' version. Here's Kenra Charioteer. This is Gruul. It is a Jackal Warrior with Trample and gives other creatures you control Trample, and it's a 3/3.
Very good. 3 for a 3/3 trample. I don't know if this would force me into green-red, but there's no way I wouldn't play this if I were playing green-red.
Absolutely. Labyrinth Guardian. When Labyrinth Guardian becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it. It's a 2/3, and it's got Embalm for 3.
That's okay.
I mean, it's in blue. 2/3 in blue for 2.
Yeah, I hate that illusion drawback.
Yeah.
I understand, like, that's fine.
It lets blue get bigger guys.
Yeah.
And in limited, like, anything kills this. But if they don't have anything, and it's very possible that they don't because it is limited, you have a 2/3 for 2.
Thinking about it, I think some of the other illusions, if they become the target of a spell or ability, you sacrifice it. This is only a spell. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's the difference.
It's a little more resilient, and it has Embalm.
I do hate the idea of it getting killed by a cartouche, though.
Yep, that's true. Lay Bare the Heart. I think this was the plot of Suicide Squad.
Without seeing that, I'm just going to agree.
It is a black sorcery for 2. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-legendary, non-land card from it, and that player discards it.
Huh. That's an interesting restriction.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see this in Modern, because they play... I wonder if we'll see this as like a budget version of Thoughtseize or Inquisition of Kozilek.
It's a mana more.
Yeah.
Doubling the mana cost, I think, is not likely. I find it interesting. I feel like they're really protecting those 3 mana artifacts and the gods, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a way you can choose a creature without ruining somebody's fun of getting rid of their god, is probably why.
Yeah, that's interesting from a design point.
Yeah.
Lay claim. Enchant permanent. You get it. For 7.
This is awesome. The stealing effects in limited are amazing anyway. The fact that this is a 7 mana is fine, because those kind of effects are usually worth 7 mana, but you can also hit planeswalkers or enchantments or artifacts, which is less frequent to be able to steal.
You could take their land.
Yes, I've done that before. Man, that makes people mad sometimes.
If they're splashing a color or they're slightly mana screwed, even just a little bit, they've got 1 red, and you take their red, you just locked them out of half their deck.
Yeah.
And Brandon loves to ruin people's fun.
I do.
Also, it cycles.
Yeah, it cycles, whatever.
Oh, here's Liliana, Death's Majesty. It's a
5 mana. She comes in with 5 loyalty. +1, create a 2/2 black zombie token, and you put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard.
good.
-3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a black zombie, in addition to its other colors and types.
Very good.
And then -7, destroy all non-zombie creatures.
She seems awesome.
She does seem awesome. So something neat, I think her and Gideon both seem good, and both of them break out of the what I would call planeswalker trend they've been doing with design, where one effect draws you cards, one effect kills creatures to protect itself, and then some game-winning ultimate. And neither her nor Gideon have that same formula.
Yeah. I mean, she still has a kind of card advantage.
Yeah, and that's the equivalent there. But then the second one is also kind of a card advantage. She doesn't have creature removal, but the creature creation option she has protects her.
After you mill yourself to make a zombie, now you can get value out of that mill by getting a thing back. Hopefully a 6/6. Or...
Yeah, I like her a lot. I actually think her ultimate... In the history of Magic, maybe an EDH will usually win you the game if you're playing a zombie deck. I think in Limited, you're going to be surprised at how many times your opponent is still going to have a creature.
Yep.
But yeah, very good.
Liliana's Mastery, 5 mana enchantment, gives zombies +1/+1. When it enters the battlefield, you make 2 zombies. So for 5 mana, it immediately makes you 2 3/3s.
Yeah, this is sweet. This is awesome. And then, as we were just saying, there's a lot of zombies already. This is good to play if you have no other zombie cards in your deck.
Yeah, absolutely. Just if you're in black, then you should. And if you're in black, you probably have zombies. Or
Yeah,
you
just
real hard. I don't know what kind of black deck you're playing. It's hard to splash because it's black, but man, play this card. Limits of Solidarity. Gain control of target creature. So it's a threaten with cycling. It costs 4.
Hey, that's a really good type of effect to have cycling on, because
Yep.
sometimes you don't want that effect, but when you do, it's very good.
Yeah.
So this is, I don't know, this seems really simple and basic, but I think cycling instead of threatening something is usually the option I want.
So sometimes, I mean, yeah, sometimes threaten is really good and it's really powerful and it will win you games. And sometimes it doesn't do anything and you're just kind of bummed out. But the fact that this has cycling makes me more happy to put it into my deck.
I think I would pick this higher than I would a lot of other similar effect cards.
Yep. Here's the Lord of the Accursed. It is a black zombie for 3. It's a 2/3. It's a zombie lord, so it gives zombies +1/+1. And it gives all zombies menace until end of turn for a colorless, a black, and a tap. That guy's...
This is very good.
And it's
Yeah.
uncommon?
There are so many zombies in this set.
Oh,
in
this
black,
guy's good.
and then also all the other colors in balm.
Is this really common?
It's
Or
uncommon.
really uncommon?
I would pick this very high.
Yeah. This card's great. I want this card for my mono black zombie deck. Luxa River Shrine. I'm sorry.
3 mana.
Yeah.
1 and tap to gain a life and put a brick counter on Luxa River Shrine. 2, or sorry, there's no 2 there. You just tap it. You tap it to gain 2 life, and you can only use that if you have 3 or more brick counters on it. Okay, I don't like this because it's just straight life gain. It's really cheap, long-term life game, but I wouldn't play this in Limited. Unless you happen to have something that had life gain triggers, which I don't think we've seen.
Yeah, man, even that it's life gain over time, it locks down a mana every turn to gain 1 life. Maybe if it was 1 mana for 2 life, I would be more interested in playing it.
Yeah.
But This card's bad. Don't play this card.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think even if you are playing a slow controlling deck, you don't want to waste your card slot and mana on this.
If this card was a creature that is just going to block a thing and die, it's likely that by blocking a thing, it will prevent more damage than you will gain from this card.
Absolutely.
Magma Spray. Magma Spray deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead.
So this has been a good card many times in the past. Very relevant now with Embalm.
Yep.
This is going to feel like 2 for 1ing your opponent a lot. I think this is going to be... This was a high priority pick before anyway, and I think this will put people in red immediately.
And it's worth noting that you can block a creature, deal combat damage to it, and even if it survives combat, you can finish it with Magma Spray, and now it gets exiled.
Yep.
Here's Manglehorn. I feel like Manglehorn and that hippo from earlier are going to fight.
The hippo is going to win every time.
Because this is only a 2/2.
I don't even remember its power and toughness, but I remember the art.
Alright, Manglehorn is 3 for a 2/2 in green. When it enters the battlefield, you destroy target artifact, so it's a hate bear. And artifacts your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped.
That's very good.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. It's going to win... When I'm playing this card, it's going to make that life gain artifact that much worse for you.
Yep. Again, don't play that. Play Manglehorn instead. Here's Manticore of the Gauntlet. We are going to stop here. Thanks for watching our A through M review of Amonkhet, and our next video will pick up with Manticore of the Gauntlet. Rawr. Thanks, Brandon.